Hey guys, check out this video to learn the difference between the verbs rent, borrow, and lend. Hi, I'm Steve, and this is Single Step English. Many of my students often confuse these three verbs, rent, borrow, and lend. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to use them the right way. And you'll also learn some great examples that will help you build confidence and sound more fluent speaking English. If you like this video, please click the like button below. And remember to subscribe to the Single Step English channel. All right. The main difference between rent and borrow is whether we use money to use something. When we rent something, we pay money. But when we borrow something, we don't have to pay money. We can use it for free and then return it later. Here are some examples of things that people rent. I rent an apartment. When I go on vacation, I rent a car. In some cities, you can rent a bicycle. These are all things that we have to pay money to use. We rent them. In Japan, you can rent a pet for a day. And here are some examples of things that people borrow. I will borrow a book from the library. I can use the book for free and then return it. I borrowed a pen from my classmate. And you can see I use the past tense, ed. I borrowed a pen from my classmate. I can borrow money from the bank. So here we use the word borrow, but you must pay the money back. Banks do not give money out for free. Next, we have the word lend. If you ask someone for money, you can say, "May I borrow some money?" Or, "Could I borrow some money?" If the person agrees, they may say, "Sure, I will lend you some money." So, the person that takes the money or an object, they borrow it. And the other person, they will lend the money. They are the one that gives the money to the other person to use. So that's the difference between borrow and lend. Here is where the two words gets a little confusing for some students. You can use borrow and lend to ask for things. For example, "May I borrow a pen?" Or, "Can you lend me a pen?" And notice the pattern here, all right? May I borrow a pen? Can or could you lend me a pen? So lend me a, borrow a. And if you remember those patterns, you won't have trouble understanding the difference between both of these words. Sometimes students ask me, which is more polite? Can I borrow or could I borrow? And I always tell them that could I is a little more polite than can I. However, you will often hear people use can with their good friends. Can I borrow a few dollars? Can I borrow your notebook? Hey guys, what was the last thing that you borrowed? Was it a library book? Was it money? Please tell me about it in the comment section below. Tell me what you borrowed. I hope this lesson helped you understand the difference between rent, borrow, and lend. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.